Greetings. I know the channel's been dormant for a bit, and I hope to have some more interesting videos up soon, but in the meantime, for now, I just wanted to share this interesting magazine which I have. I've actually had it for well over a decade. It's titled Minbar Al-Umat Al-Hur, which roughly means pulpit of the free nation, and this particular issue is titled al-Hashmiyun, the Hashemites, with the whole magazine dedicated to the Hashemite family, which is currently ruling Jordan. And as you flip through its pages, there are all sorts of little personal interest stories about, various details in the life and history of the ruling family. And again, this is the family which heads the monarchy there in Jordan. For example, there's this piece on the place of women in the kingdom, or more specifically, the conception of women in Hashemite thought, and with, as you can see, these pictures of Queen Rania. Then there's this piece on the history of the kings of the Bani Hashim, the Hashemite kings. Or there's this piece titled Al-Hashmiyun wa Demokratiya, the Hashemites and Democracy. And so you get the idea. The magazine, this lovely glossy magazine from, 14 years ago or something like that, is basically conveying the idea that the monarchy is committed to women's rights, committed to democracy, etc., right? But the part of the magazine I most wanted to show is this, a two-page spread which purports to give the genealogy of King Abdullah, the current king of Jordan, and going back dozens of generations, allegedly spanning more than 15 centuries. Now, as a disclaimer, I personally have no idea how accurate this genealogy is. For what it's worth, there are about 1,341 years between the birth of the current king and the birth of Fatima, the daughter of Muhammad. And this genealogy lists 40 generations from the king back to Muhammad. And I mean, Muhammad, who's considered the final prophet of Islam, of Orthodox Islam. So that's about, if you divide that up, that's about 33 years per generation. Each, do with that as you will. But, whatever the case, without passing judgment on the genealogy, without, declaring that it is accurate or it isn't, because that's not my place, nor my, that's beyond my pay grade. But putting its accuracy aside, questions about its accuracy, I thought others might find it fun or even interesting to look through it. So let's just jump right in. I'm going to just sort of freestyle this as I scroll through, so forgive me if this is a bit raw. At the top center, you have the centerpiece of this, which is the current king of Jordan, Abdullah. This is essentially a genealogy for the current king, Abdullah. And, I'd say it's a paternal lineage, but there is one woman who breaks it up, and we'll get into that a bit later. That's when we get into the period of early Islamic history. But real quickly, before I get into the actual lineage, on the right, you have some, pictures of King Abdullah, including in military gear. There's a lot of pictures of him out there. He has a lot of pride in his association with the Jordanian military. On the left, there's sort of a mini genealogy of specifically the kings of Jordan. So you have here the current king, Abdullah, and then you have his father, Hussein, and who was the previous king, and then the king before him, his father, Talal, and then you have another king named Abdullah, the first king of Jordan in a sense. And I'll get into that in a moment because, let's actually jump into the genealogy. So it starts with the king of Jordan, Abdullah, and then I'm going to go through these names. I'm not going to read all the names. I'll go slowly because my device needs a moment to sort of focus, so nothing is blurry, and I'll try to scroll through every name clearly, so that way other interested readers, and interested viewers can pause the video where they see fit if they want to contemplate a particular name or look something up. But I'm just going to focus on some of the modern names, then I'm going to largely skip over to some of the names from early Islamic history. So as I was saying, the father of the current king is, his name is at the top, Al-Hussein bin Talal, and then there's his father named Talal, hence why he's called bin Talal. Then, as I just said, you have Abdullah, a different Abdullah. This is the great-grandfather of the current king. And then this is where, in my opinion, it gets interesting. His father is also named Al-Hussein. And on the right, he's called Malik al-Arab, the king of the Arabs, and he's also called Qa'id al-Thawrat al-Arabiya al-Kubra, which means like the founder, the leader of the great Arab revolt, because he was at the forefront of when the British inspired or instigated the Arabs to rise up against the Ottoman Empire during World War One, which helped weaken the Ottoman Empire. And then, they were rewarded with basically him and his sons were rewarded with their own, newly created kingdoms in amongst the different pieces that were carved out of the Ottoman Empire. Like I said, Al-Hussein became the king of the Hijaz, you could say, what's now Mecca and Medina. I think for like American audiences, think of like Arabia proper, and then his son Abdullah was the king of Transjordan or Jordan. The modern state of Jordan was created after World War One. All these modern states were. Another of his sons became the king of Iraq, or Iraq and Syria, but then somehow they lost the monarchy in Syria and just became the king of Iraq. And that line of kings in Iraq lasted 3 generations before it was overthrown. Now Al-Hussein, remained the king of the Hijaz, the king of what you could call Arabia, but his son, who became the next king of Arabia, was then overthrown by a member of the Saud clan, and that's how you get Saudi Arabia. The Saud clan or family or tribe, they put their own family name, their own tribal name on the country. They overthrew the Hashemite king, which was one of the sons of Al-Hussein, and put one of their own as the new king over Arabia, and then put their name on the country, hence Saudi Arabia. Whatever the case, Al-Hussein, interestingly enough, was born in Istanbul, Turkey, or Istanbul, the capital of the Ottoman Empire. Not sure what to make of that, but I think that's interesting. His father, as you can see here, is named Ali. And at least, I don't know much about him, but at least according to the English Wikipedia, didn't find this on the Arabic Wikipedia, interestingly enough, but in the English Wikipedia, he had the title Pasha, which is a Turkish title referring to high-ranking officers within the Ottoman Empire. Now, I'm going to go through the names. A lot of these names I'm not familiar with, and a lot of them, there's going to be a lot of overlap and repetition. A lot of people named, Muhammad and there's a Mohsen, there's going to be a bunch of people named Muhammad or Abdullah or Hussein or Hassan, etc. And so I'm just going to sort of scroll through these, but again, I'll try to scroll through slow enough that my device can focus in on them, and therefore anyone who's interested can look these names up on their own. But I mainly want to get to, here's the centerpiece of the 2 pages, I guess the fold. But like I said, I want to get to the names from early Islamic history, because that's the one other part that I find interesting. And so, there's someone named Idris, Abdul Karim. Here's one person named Isa, which is the Quranic name for Jesus, Isa. Another Al-Hussein. Sorry, I just let it focus. Suleiman, which is the Arabic for Solomon. And I'm not saying he descends from King Solomon. I'm just saying, someone in this purported paternal lineage of the current king of Jordan had the name Suleiman. There's a couple of people named Musa, as you see there, which is Moses. And now we're getting pretty close to the early days of Islamic history. So here we go. At the top, you see Al-Hasan al-Muthana, or also known as Hassan ibn Hassan. And then there's his father, Hassan al-Sibt, which is literally Hassan, the grandson. The Sibt, you could translate grandson. And, the predecessor, the grandson of what? Grandson of Muhammad, whom Muslims recognize as the final prophet. So this is one of the 12 Shia imams. So that's also interesting that the current king of Jordan, who's not Shia, claims to descend from some significant figures in Shi'i history. And this is where this paternal lineage gets broken up by a woman, in a sense, because they want to draw a line back to Muhammad. There's still a paternal lineage there, but because they want to draw a line directly back to Muhammad, they have to draw it through a woman. So you see at the top, it says Al-Hasan al-Sibt, and then it says Azara Fatima, the daughter of Muhammad. And that you'll notice at the bottom, it says there, Muhammad Rasulullah, Muhammad, the messenger of God. Right, and then on the right it says Khatim al-Anbiya, literally the seal of the prophets, but I think they mean, the final prophet. And then to keep it paternal, though, because Hassan was the son of Fatima and Ali. And on the right there, it says Al-Imam Ali. It's because Ali was the first cousin of Muhammad, the father of Fatima. So Fatima married her father's first cousin, or her first cousin once removed. And then you see Muhammad's father is Abdullah, and Ali's father is, to keep it paternal, Ali's father is Abu Talib. And then there's Abdul Muttalib. The grandfather of Muhammad is also the grandfather of Ali, and so that's how you get this. The King of Jordan's purported genealogy comes from the same line as Muhammad, and then it goes to Hashim, also called Amr, who says here Jid Bani Hashim. So I guess this is the forefather of the Hashemite clan named Hashim or Amr, and that's it. This is the end of the genealogy. Interesting enough, I'm not familiar with this person, but it says Qusay, and it says Awal Malik al-Mecca, apparently the first king to Mecca. I don't know what that means. I'm not familiar with this figure, but that is interesting because if I'm understanding this correctly, in modern times, after World War One, the current king of Jordan, his paternal line briefly ruled over Mecca. It's interesting that apparently this genealogy claims that he descends paternally from an ancient pre-Islamic king of Mecca. I don't know what to make of that. I think that's interesting. And that's it. Then the genealogy pretty much ends there. I hope others found this interesting. I'm going to close the video here. I hope you at least found it fun. As I said, I'm going to make I promise to make some more interesting videos soon. I'm going to do some videos on Ge'ez and maybe a video on people who make interesting claims about Hebrew. But I just wanted to very quickly make this quick video on the lineage of the current king of Jordan, because I've had this magazine for over a decade, and I always thought it was interesting that they attempt to give his paternal lineage across like 15 centuries or more than 15 centuries. I'm not even sure. So, like I said, I hope you found it fun. Hope you found it interesting. On that note, I'll close here, as I always do, by saying that I sincerely look forward to the comments of others. God bless.